Hey YouTube, Marko with Marko Custom Build Models coming to you with an update on the '63 Nova station wagon. Oh wait a sec, that's kind of boring. Let me get something a little more exciting for you here. Alright, there we go. AMT's 1963 Chevy II Nova station wagon. What I talked about doing, customizing it with this chassis from the 1966 Nova drag car. That's also released by AMT. So here we are so far. It's not a lot into the build. I did the chassis, made the chassis fit, did some fitment, and basically built up the engine block, got the wheels and tires to sit right. Now it's just a matter of doing the interior and what my plans are there, and maybe you guys want to chime in on some suggestions and what ideas I have. So, from the kit, I got the body here. What I had cut out was this is everything that is not being used in the kit. So basically, I had to cut out the engine bay area from the body, and it just fits onto the chassis here like this. I just sort of set it all there so you could see it as a whole. I probably will not be using this interior tub, and I'll show you why, but I will be using the dashboard. So let's get into what's changed on the model itself here. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to remove this rear bumper. It's just kind of sitting here. I still have a little bit of fitment work to do here on that. So there's the body. Nothing's changed on the body. It still retains all the original details and things like that. Door handles, trim. So the only change that's been made is this inner part has been cut out. This tunnel ram dual 4-barrel setup is just sitting on there. I'm just going to remove that so it doesn't fall off. Just wanted to see the full look of it. Engine block, I still have to build a couple of motor mounts. And I had to add a piece of styrene in here just to finish off the back of the firewall here. Okay, this front bumper presses on just like that. I had to take off the tabs at the back that would go in. In this case now the bumper will actually just have to get glued on. Not too big a deal. Okay, so that's the front bumper. Not much really modified, just cut out that inner structure. That's the body. On the chassis, everything is basically the same as how it was built for the Nova, except a couple of changes. One will be you don't have to worry about what I've done here. I just put an axle through. I'll do the suspension in the front. The reason I do that is so I can set my ride height and get everything the way I want it. Also allows me to know that the rear tires turn inside the body and it all fits so it would actually work. So that's the scenario there. The wheels, these are out of an AMT drag model. I'm not sure, like funny car, older funny car. And the front wheels, I'm not sure what they came out of. They were in my parts box. They're a set of, looks like Kragers. The upper panel here, basically just glued it to the top, and it finishes off against the edge. Also in the back, I created some sort of engagement setup pins that slide into the body when you go to put this chassis in. It just sort of engages in there, and that allows you to put the body on and everything to sit right. You can see the body height and floor, the bottom edge all lines up really nicely together here. There's a nice seam. It's even all the way across. So got that to line up. Also some changes that had to be made where the front radiator support and also the firewall needed to be modified to fit inside the body. You can see there's some shape to it here to follow inside the body here. The 66 Nova, this firewall support is much wider. So one nice thing about this model, the firewall is completely molded smooth. If you wanted to build a tubular front arm suspension or front K-member or anything off the front of this, you could scratch build a tubular front suspension, tubular inner supports. You could do it quite modern. I kept this sort of conservative and with the parts from the kit. from the 66 Nova. The one modification that I had to do to the back here was also just trim off the top edge of the fender and a little bit off of the back here, because it was a little bit too wide to press into the body, as you could see from the previous footage. I did fill in this with some solid styrene. There's a little bit of a hollow point here. When I glued this up onto here, this would be a little bit flimsy, so I filled that with a piece of styrene just to strengthen that whole end there, because I'm relying on that for support. The reason I can't use the original wagon tub, I could cut out the seat and everything, which I thought about doing, is that the tunnel, and I know I'd have to cut all this out, but the tunnel on the inside here is quite small in comparison to the tunnel on the floor here. So this would have to be all cut out in the floor, and by the time I cut all this out, I'm not going to have much left after cutting out the spare tire, all that kind of stuff. It's not going to leave me with much of the interior. So what I've opted to do, I haven't started on it yet, is I'm going to use this interior pan that comes for the sedan, or hardtop I should say. And two things could happen. One, and this is where I haven't really made a decision yet, I could put this together, and from this point on I could build a flat panel to finish it off on the inside, so it's all flat and there's no detail on the inside here, and just keep it as a interior like that. Or what I'd like to do too is also just cut the floor off down at the base here, continue a flat floor all the way to the back and finish that off, and then build side panels and make a full interior. So there's two things that could happen. I like the full interior idea. I also like the idea of making a flat panel there. Maybe inside a guy could put some detail like a Chevy emblem or something like that on the inside. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. This model is not something where I saw a car and is like, oh, I want to copy it or duplicate it. This is just be creative as you go, build it. So that's what's happening here. The side panels, of course, are molded with two-door detail, but they're also a very smooth panel. Here's what the door panels look like in the 66 Nova kit. Obviously, they're not four-door, they're two-door, but I could easily scribe lines in here and finish that off and make a four-door panel, or carry it on and build the side panel for the wagon. So that's yet to be determined. Also, the rear end on this would come with long leaf springs that would go all the way down and they continue to the back. There's a couple issues with the leaf springs. One is it's not a very realistic style suspension for a drag car. And two, the fitment issue on these is quite off. I notice where the pins line up, they're not exactly straight. One's a little more forward than the other. When you put the springs into that point, it will push up on the rear end and also cause it to distort, and where the wheels aren't sitting level anymore. So when you go to put the model down, it would have a little bit of a rock to it. That's not the end of the world. A guy could trim the pins and put it all down. It works. But what I want to do is make it look like a 4-link setup. So what I did was I kept the front part of the links here, and then what I'm going to do is put a coil over shocks at the back to go in here. The rear end is still removable, so I can paint this. It's basically I put this bar in the top here, which will create like a friction fit to fit right up on there. When you get it in there, the shocks are going to sit here. You're not going to see that. It's all going to be painted and hidden. So at the end of the day, I think this rear suspension idea will look really good on this model compared to what was there. Probably not going to put wheelie bars on it, but the kit does come with wheelie bars that you could use if you want to put the wheelie bars on. There's a lot of things you could do with this. It's very open-ended. You could build it however you like it. Also, I'd like to point out that when you put the rear end in this model, being that this, I originally was going to build it with some narrower slicks, but then they were too narrow and it looked kind of funny. I had these huge tubs with the narrow tires in the back. So I ended up having to narrow the rear end a bit, and I would sand a little bit, just to get it so that it will clear not only the chassis, but the outside of the body, so the tires will still turn in those tubs. So that took a little bit of time to get that set up right and get the stance right. So that was a big thing. Now that it's all there, I just wanted to show it and see where things go from here. I want to paint this model probably a factory Nova color, or do something wild. I don't know. I haven't really decided. Maybe leave a comment. All I know is I want to paint this car, and I was thinking about painting the stock version exactly the same colors, just something fun. This is just basically all test fit together. It can still come apart to get painted. I just wanted to show, so this is just the stock wagon, and it builds up very nice. It's a beautiful kit to put together. It's something fun. I did add a steel axle in the front instead of the pins, so I had to drill a hole in this oil pan here so that the axle could go through, make it more like the original style kit. Always like this shot here, head to head. Get the intake. Pop that on there. Okay, there you have it. AMT's 63 Nova Wagon. By round 2 models, which way would you want to build it? Stock, custom? It comes stock in the box, but there's so many ways you can go ahead with this. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please subscribe, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.